really afraid to actually make that change. There was a lot of fear, fear of the unknown, a lot of, uncertainty, what was going to come next, when would it come, what would it actually look like, how would it turn out? But it sort of got to a point where I was extremely unhappy, not only in the role, but in the environment and, with the people that were around me. And I was extremely unmotivated. And, like I said, I was feeling extremely stuck. My head was, telling me to stay. My unconscious mind was giving me all sorts of reasons, to stay there. I was getting paid well, and it was, close to home, and I was secure in that role. But yet, my heart and soul were, begging me, to leave, to make a change, to do something new. And in the end, that's what I did. I took a leap of faith, and I decided it was time for a change. And so I handed in my resignation, and I have to say, I have never looked back. By doing that, I opened, I allowed, so many doors, so many opportunities to arrive, and so many experiences that I've had in that time, because I did make that change. I'm actually so grateful that I did. And so the reason why I wanted to share that story is, certainly not to encourage people to leave their, full-time roles. It's not about that. It's, I really wanted to pose a question for reflection. Are you potentially feeling stuck, somewhere in your life? Because when we can actually, acknowledge that, to acknowledge where we are, that's where we can, that's a starting point to actually make some change. And, feeling stuck is not a bad thing. I actually feel like that's, the universe giving us a nudge, or, it could be a sign that, it might be time, to make a change, to start something new, to go in a new direction. So if you feel called to, to reflect on this, I hope you will answer that honestly, so that, potentially, maybe there is potential for you to, make a change, or go in a new direction in whatever way that, fits your life.